Okay, so here's a video on section 5.5. Now, to be honest, there's not a lot to add to this section save for the first step of this, but here's what went over in class. Um, we've already done everything up to here. I mean, this part here we've already done. So if you're struggling with any of the stuff for like moving variables, moving numbers, moving, multiplying, dividing, solve, you need to go back and take a look at sections 5.2 and 5.4. The new material is this. We have to simplify each side separately. That means either using the distributive property or combining like terms. And there's also one other twist that pops up in a few problems we'll talk about when I go over the homework problem, or some of the homework problems. But that's it. Everything else, move the variables to one side, move all the numbers to the opposite side. That's all stuff we've done. We did that back in section 5.2. Go back at that, or look back in chapter 4 videos, or come in and see me. And then from section 5.4, if you multiply, if you're in an inequality, if you multiply or divide each side by a negative number, you flip the symbol. So homework for the first day was 1 through 17 odd. So I'm going to actually jump to number 6. Just because I think 6 is a good one. We'll look at 6 and 10. So 6 is 3 times d minus 2 equals 5 times d plus 8. Alright, so that's the first one we'll take a look at here. So the first thing I have to do for any of these problems is, again, simplify each side. That's the only part that's new. The rest of it's just solving. So I'm going to distribute the 3 to both parts on the left-hand side, which gives me 3d minus 6. Then distribute the 5 to both of those, which will give me 5d plus 40. Now we're done with new stuff. Each side is separate, is simplified. I've done the distributive property. I've done the there's no like terms to combine, so now it's just move the variables to one side. I would suggest moving them to the right. Subtract a 3d. Negative 6 equals 2d plus 40. Then you can subtract 40 from both sides. That gives you negative 46 equals 2d. And now you can divide both sides by 2. Negative 23 is d. Okay, so there's number 6. Now number 12, or 10, I can't remember which one it is, I'll have to look back here, has a weird twist to it. This one does. There isn't one weird twist to this section other than that. That would be number 10. Okay. So when we look at this, we've got a lot to simplify on the right side. Left side's okay. It's 7x plus 5, not a big deal. The right side, though, distribute the 10. That gives us 10x minus 70 minus 3x. Then I have the issue of this. On the right-hand side, I have some like terms. I need to combine those like terms. So 10x minus 3x is 7x minus 70. And now that I've done that, now we're back into section 5.2 territory where we move all the variables to one side. I'm going to move them to the left just because it's habit. But there's an issue that happens. When I subtract those 7x's, I get 5 equals negative 70. They both drop off. Now the question is, what the heck did I do wrong? No, I didn't do anything wrong. This is what's supposed to happen. So occasionally what will happen in an equation is the variables on both sides, they match a number and then they cancel off. So the question becomes this, what kind of statement do I get afterwards? Well, this is false. 5 doesn't equal negative 70. What that means is, no matter what I put in for x, these two guys will never equal. So this means there's no solution, or the fancy pants term for this, null set. I really honestly prefer no solution, but null set sounds nice and fancy. Now, what can occasionally happen is something like this. I'll make one up where they're going to cancel off. 3x plus 7 equals 5x plus 7 minus 2x. Okay. You look at these two, 5x and negative 2x, I combine those. I get 3x plus 7 because the x's cancel off. Now what happens next is, I got to move the variables. Oh, this is true. Okay. Now, right here, hopefully you caught, hey, those are the exact same thing on both sides. But let's say you don't for some reason. Sometimes you don't see it. When you go to move the variables, you'll get something equals something, the variable's gone. If it's a true statement, what that means is it doesn't matter what I plug in for x, because again, the x's have dropped off and it's resulting in a true statement. So this solution is all numbers, or what the book calls identity. Which all identity means in math is it's the same on both sides, which is what's happening here. All numbers, it's the identity. Okay. So hopefully that helps with 5.5. Again, if you have any other questions, something that doesn't make sense, come on in. Oh, I'm sorry, that's just the first part. I almost forgot. We haven't done inequalities yet. Oh, Mr. Moyer. So yeah, I do the inequalities. That's the equation part of it. Inequality portion of it, like number, I don't know. Let's see which one I want to pick here. Got to pick a tough one. Let's pick number 16. 16 looks ugly enough, yeah. So 6 times negative 2z plus 5 is less than negative 19z plus 16. Okay. So, excuse me, distribute the 6 to both on the left. That gives us negative 12z plus 30 is less than negative 19z plus 16. Okay, so now what I have to do is I have to move the variables to a side. On inequalities, I like to move to the left side just to keep the variable there. But there's also a nice thing about moving it to the left this time, because I'm going to add 19z to do that. And negative 12z plus 19z is a positive 7z. And anytime I can keep my variables positive and an inequality is good, because it means I don't have to divide by a negative then. Meaning I have to flip, I don't want to flip this symbol. At this part here, this is old hat. 7z is less than negative 14. Divide by 7. Z is less than negative 2. Okay, z is less than negative 2. Which means in open circle on negative 2, arrow to the left if I wanted to graph it. Okay. But that first step, that's the key. Distribute, move things to one side, move numbers to the opposite side, divide and solve. And if it's an inequality, if there's a negative variable, you might have to switch the symbol, which we didn't here because the variable is positive. Okay, now, again, that's not all of it. So obviously if you have questions, come in before or after school for help. But just a little something to kind of get you started on the homework. Thanks.